Oh my God, yes! Ah, yes! I got reverse, which goes forward, and forward does nothing. How many things went wrong? I'll have to count up when I'm doing the editing. Yes! This video really took a turn that I didn't expect at all. And I had a huge problem, but I think I've solved it. So keep watching. You'll see what the problem is and how I fixed it. We're still gonna start this video with replacing the components that were broken in the last video and everything else I had planned. For those just getting caught up, this is my EV conversion project called EVO Speedwagon. There's the electric motor there. There is the Dion axle, which I hand built. The car itself is a 1962 Mercury Comet. It is currently being used as a bookshelf, and eventually there'll be a battery pack here where the old tractor motor used to be. And why do I call it a tractor motor? Simply because it was an old inline-six cast iron and didn't run very well. There's the battery. I ended that last video off on a question. I said, why is it showing me only like 16 volts at those bus bars right there? I know it's hard to see. At these bus bars. And the answer was simple. It's because it's broken. It's shorted out. The inverter is shorted out. So what I'm gonna try and do is disconnect the inverter. And if it's still showing only 16 volts at those bus bars, then the PDM is also destroyed. As you can see, I'm taking the right safety precautions, but these should not be live anyways because there's a contactor. These are the contactors right here, and they're not closed. The Resolve-EV VCU, which is turned on now, is telling the contactor that controls the pre-charge resistor, is telling that to close the circuit so that it can send full voltage throughout the system, but just a tiny trickle, no amperage is actually getting through. There, 36. Well, it's supposed to be like 336, so it's a little bit better, but it's still broken. So now I know I need a new PDM as well.
The car's broken.
It's odd to be surrounded by all this fossil fuel infrastructure and yet be trying to work on this busted, broken electric car. But here I am. That's what I need. I brought the PDM home, and now I have all the new parts that I needed, including the inverter, which Paul sent to me in the mail. Thanks, Paul. So now I can begin removing the old PDM and inverter, and I started with draining the cooling system. Then removing all the hoses, high voltage cables, and wiring harnesses that were in the way. Only then could I lower the whole mounting structure that I made to hold them to the car. I had just a little bit of work to do to get the inverter ready. I had to put on some heat shrink around the bus bars that are now exposed to the dirty, humid air. And I also sealed up the hole there with some nylon and silicone sealant. Then it was just a matter of removing the older parts and bolting on the new ones. It was a bit tricky getting the PDM onto the inverter without bending the bus bars, but it wasn't too hard. But the dowel pins needed a little more persuasion, and I used a dead blow hammer for that. Now I just have to do all of the coolant, hook up the wiring harness back up again. One of the bigger pain in the butts for this job here is reconnecting these wires. These come from the motor, and I just gotta get these back on here and then put the shrink wrap around it. And the reason they're labeled a little bit out of order is because I'm actually running the motor in reverse. If you watched my last video for this project, you'll know that this is where I made my big mistake. So this time I'm taking 0 chances and I'm triple checking everything as I make these crimps. Time now to fill the coolant system in this vehicle. I'm using this kit from Harbor Freight to pressurize the coolant system. This is the coolant I'm using. I have a nice aluminum overflow tank here. Before I hook up the battery, I verified that the positive lead on the end of the battery cable there is connected to the positive lug between the inverter and motor. I'm not making the same goddamn mistake again. Good Lord. Okay, time to turn it on. What I'm hoping is that this lights up. Now, if it doesn't, perhaps it means that there's an error. Okay, it's the next day, and I was doing some reading, and I remembered that there is an interconnect switch that is only closed when you plug in this big plug that goes to the battery. Well, since I connected the battery wires directly inside the battery pack instead of used this plug, the interconnect switch will not be very happy. And all I have to do is plug this in though. I did seal up the copper wires with some shrink wrap here. And I think that all I have to do is plug this in and hopefully all my problems will be solved. Turning it on. Keep your eye on this here. Oh, blasted. All right, let's check the error codes. All right, I'm checking the DTC codes first, and I'm getting a lot less than I had before. It's off to a good start, I believe. All right, let's go get the multimeter out and get the pack. What I saw next really scared me and made my heart sink, because this was the same symptoms I saw after I smoked the inverter and the PDM when I fed it the reverse polarity. But there's no way I made that mistake again. I really had no idea what was wrong. Okay, the whole time I've been doing all of this, the LCD screen has been disconnected. Oh my gosh, well, no way is this gonna fix all my problems, but let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, plugged in now. Problems on top of problems, just multiple problems. Look at this, guys. I just took out the pre-charge resistor from the battery pack, and at best, it's measuring 3.13 mega ohms. It's supposed to be 33 ohms total. So, there's no discoloration, there's no fractures, it just failed silently. I think that hopefully is the cause of all my problems. I'm gonna start searching for a new one.
Nice car.
Oh, thanks. All right, new pre-charge resistor came in the mail. Here it is, man. Here is what I've been waiting for. This could be it. This could be all I need to get the fucking wheels, to get the bleeping wheels spinning. And who knows? Now I'm kind of scared because if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna have really big problems. All right. New pre-charge resistor is installed. Battery, 12-volt battery reconnected. Service disconnect reinstalled. Time to turn her on and see what happens. I am nervous. I'm gonna give her a reach around over here to turn on the ignition. Oh my God, yes! Ah, yes! Let's see if the brake pedal works, and then I can shift it in the drive. Oh my God, here we go! Here we go, here we go, here we go! Ah, okay, watch the tires. Didn't spin, did they? I just heard a ee and no spinning. All right, I got it hooked up here to ye old laptop. 210C means isolation fault. This is from the owner's manual. That's kind of a serious thing, you know. And then I also pulled up the diagnostic thing. This is a new thing from Resolve, the diagnostic page here. Just kind of looks normal, I think. All right, I'm gonna try and put it into drive. So forward is drive. Well, I fixed the isolation fault. All I needed to do was ground the battery pack enclosure to the chassis, or in this case, strictly to the 12-volt battery. So I can spin the wheels by hand, so in both of them, and they can spin the same direction too. So I'm pretty certain that it's not the parking brake. Another suspect could be that these 3 wires going from the inverter to the motor, I was supposed to swap 2 of them so that I would reverse the motor spin. But my main suspect is this resolver here. This is the wires going to the resolver, which is located right here. Well, I had to extend these wires in the wiring harness, and I think that I made a mistake, and that is what I think is the problem. All right, here it is. Now, the first thing I noticed is one of these low heat solder connectors, well, it was never fucking working. It was never working to begin with. You have to be careful with these. They don't always work very well. When you're using them, just make sure that the solder actually melts. All right, well, here we go again. '72. Let's put it in gear. Oh, it's in drive. Let's see if the wheels spin. No. Okay, I'm 99% certain I know what the problem is. All right, you see, it says CAB. I had to swap the A and the B phase wires here, and the C stayed the same. But I was reviewing some old footage, and I have it A, B, C, but it's not matching up with this. I think the C and the B needs to be swapped around. The C should be on this side, and like it is there, but the C is right there. So I screwed up big time. This has got to be it though. So all I have to do is swap those around. I think that'll do it. Okay, that is swapped now. These two have been swapped. I think I'll test it first before I shrink on this shrink wrap here. And of course I used a little tiny bit of thread locker on each nut, just a tiny bit, because you don't want it to squeeze out and get in between the connections. And then there's a skid plate that goes under here and also kind of supports this here as well, so that these aren't flexing. Okay, all right, let's turn it on. This has to do it. This has to be it. Okay. Put it in the drive and watch the wheels here. Oh my God, no way. What the fuck? Oh. Okay. Reverse. Oh my God! Is that going forward or backwards? It's supposed to be going in reverse. I got reverse, which goes forward, and forward does nothing. How many things went wrong? I'll have to count up when I'm doing the editing, but. Okay, this is forward. And now reverse. Okay, what I've done is I've opened up the old, presumably destroyed inverter that I did in the last video for this project when I gave it the reversed polarity. Well, the reason I opened it up is to show you where the current sensors are. The current sensors are these doohickeys right here. And the simplest way to understand this, because this is how I made so many mistakes, you know, this is right side up when it should be upside down, like this. And, oh yeah, I took off the chill plate, but ignore that. The phase wire furthest from the female connector for the wiring harness is the one you need to swap. And you can swap it with either of the two other ones. These are backwards from what I have on the motor. It should have been, so I had it A, B, C, and then I swapped B and A. It should have been A, B, C, and then I should have swapped C with either B or A. So I figured that out now. So any electrical engineers watching this video, please forgive me. I only took a few EE classes before I switched to computer science. So here it is again. A, B, C, but you can swap C with either B or A. And you can see it here, what I tried at first was CAB, this was backwards, and then I flipped it around, but I still had the wrong ones swapped because I didn't understand where the current sensors were. So I swapped B and A, so I had B, A, C. Still wrong. All right, I think I got it solved. Okay, I'm feeling pretty confident this time. Switching it on. Putting it into forward. Yeah, baby, that's forward. And now reverse. Yes! Yes! Let's check the brakes. Yes!
Yes! I am invincible!
Alright, I think I better stop for this video because, oh my word, what else can go wrong? But I got the wheels to spin, and that was what I wanted to do in this video. So, thanks for watching. I'll have another video out pretty soon, I think. So stay tuned and subscribe. Peace out.